Yeah.
Yeah. This is the kind of hotel I want to stay in, right? Yeah. You check in, but you never leave. I love it. So how you guys doing for spooky? Having a good time this weekend? There's a little more energy in this crowd. I like hearing it, but you're not here to see me, are you?
Yeah, we are.
So I'm just gonna sit down and let's chat, right? But how about we bring out who you're actually here for? And welcome to the stage. Big round of applause for Dennis O'Hare.
I don't know if that's not. No. Wrong show.
Ooh, how was your
There you
lunch?
go. I can't see anything.
Nope. It's like zombie heads.
See hands.
Yeah.
You all have halos. What does that mean?
This is not the room of angels, trust me. No. This is the States, for sure. How was your lunch?
It was good. I had a salad.
Yeah.
So boring.
That's how you keep trimming those plaid pants.
Gotta do something.
Looking good.
Do it! Please, come on.
How cute is
It
that?
was a matching shirt. I couldn't wear it.
I love the one out here I heard.
I love your fashion!
H&M, man.
Are you enjoying the weather here in Florida?
It's hot.
The ladies here, we call what we experience in the weather humidity. You can take that back and do your walk.
PG show.
What humidity?
I got a appointment in the morning, and I go for walks usually, and so I walk about 1.5 miles or 2 miles in the morning, and I walked, and I came back, I was drenched.
Did anybody ever resuscitate
I
you?
was drenched. No.
It's bad.
I'm also bad at waiting at walk signs because I'm a New Yorker, so we don't wait.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, why is nobody crossing? What are we doing? Why are we doing
Please
this?
don't get yeah, we don't need that on our hands.
Go ahead, Chef.
So you said you were a New Yorker and you got your start in theater.
Woo!
And
Yeah!
And I love that you are not only Tony nominated, but you are a Tony Award winner.
Yeah.
If you could just give us a little backstory on your theater experience and how it led to what we know you famous for the spooky realm.
Well, I would say I'm in New York. I'm not in New York. I live in Paris right now, so I'm now a French person. But I was.
Oui, est-ce que je comprends?
Oui.
Bah oui, bien sûr, je parle français, mais on peut le faire si on veut.
Très
On peut faire
bien.
tout en français, mais je ne sais pas si c'est en
Oui, la
anglais.
bibliothèque.
Oui,
Yeah.
mais c'est là,
That's all I learned.
mais c'est loin d'ici.
Oh, your French is beautiful.
I just speak in French most days.
Yeah.
But I was actually born in Kansas City and then raised in Detroit. And so I did my first shows in Detroit. I was a pig when I was 8 years old. I had no lines, but I wore pink tights and like I had a Campbell soup nose. And my best friend was a terrible actor, had all the lines. I'm like, why is he got all the lines? He became a bassoonist and a composer. And then I stayed in Detroit, and I did all my high school musicals. I did a bunch of high school musicals. And then I went to a place called Cranbrook Theater School, which is this amazing place in Birmingham, Michigan. Yeah. And then I moved to Chicago. I went to Northwestern, where I had a fantastic acting teacher, and did tons of plays in Chicago. I mean, I did play in Chicago. And then I did a play called Hauptmann, which is about the Lindbergh kidnapping case, and written by John Logan, who's a big screenwriter, and at the time he was a classmate of mine. And I did that play forever in Chicago, and it got transferred to New York, and I was like, I'm gonna move to New York. And so my relationship is falling apart, so I left behind a house, a dog, and a Toyota. And we broke up, and I basically was like, just give me half. And we didn't get a divorce lawyer, we decided to just do it ourselves, and he wrote me a piece of paper that said, I owe you, and I think it was $72,000 for half the car, half the dog, and half the house.
How do you value half a dog?
Well, the dog died, so we took that off the equation. It was a lovely dog named Curly, but he was very, very old. But he paid me, it took like 5 years, but he actually paid me. And I moved to New York with this play. The play lasted for a month and then closed. And I was stuck in New York with no money, no job. I had a boombox and a suitcase. And the place I was renting was too expensive, $600 a month, couldn't afford it. So I ended up living in Jersey City with my best friend, the bassoonist, who was now actually playing the Jersey Symphony. And I hung out in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I auditioned for everything. I auditioned every single day and got no jobs. And I got a job in 1992 playing a play called Wojciech, which is a really bizarre play where I had to shave my head. First time I shaved my head. And I shaved my head for that, and then I just kept working. I kept working in New York, and almost always plays. My Broadway debut was in 1994 with Paul Giamatti in a play called Racing Demon. I had a smallish part, and opening night, I fell down on my face. I worried about it every night. I had some really weird endings where I would come up and I would like jump on the stage and swirl around. I had like headphones on, and I was dancing. I was playing a Glaswegian character. And I kept thinking, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. And opening night, I fell. I fell on my face. So I laid on the ground and I laughed. And,
Did you put that in for the rest of the run?
No, I didn't fall again. Never again. Never again. But I just did play in New York. I did
And
so
that
many
led
plays.
into Assassins?
I did Assassins on Broadway. I did Sweet Charity on Broadway. I did Take Me Out, Cabaret.
Oh, you did
Major
Cabaret
Robert.
with...
Natasha Richardson.
There you go.
Natasha and Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming.
And then Ron Rifkin, and then later Jennifer Jason Leigh, and then Mary McCormick, and then I
Just
did
the list goes on
yeah,
and on.
it's crazy.
Do you prefer straight plays or do you prefer musicals? Do you have a preference?
I prefer straight plays. Musicals are too hard. They're too hard. And I'm not very, the word isn't disciplined. I don't like rules, and so I tend not to follow them. The whole about not crossing the street. And so musicals demand that you do things kind of the same way because the lighting, the orchestration, everything, and I'm not really good at that. And so I like straight plays better because I have more flexibility. So I get to kind of do what I want to.
You like to improv a little bit in there?
It's not that I improv, it's just that to me, I don't know what I'm going to do on any given night. And the words would be the same, and I'll probably be in the same place, but I may not do it the same way. And in musicals, you can't really do that.
Right.
And so it's harder for me in musicals because I feel really boxed in. And in straight plays, I have more of an opportunity to do that. I did a play, Uncle Vanya, in 2007 with Peter Sarsgaard, and Maggie Gyllenhaal and Amy Gummer, directed by Austin Pendleton in New York. And in the rehearsal process, we never blocked it. And blocking, for those of you who don't know, is like where you're going to sit, when you move, when you pick up the prop, what you do when you do it. We never blocked it. So it was never set. And so
It could be anything.
It could be anything, and it was anything any given night, down to the end of the play. Vanya tries to kiss Yelena, who's played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. And any given night, that didn't happen. Some nights I wouldn't kiss her, I would try to kiss her and she wouldn't let me. Some nights I was like, I'm not kissing you, I'm not gonna do it, because I wouldn't even bother. Some nights I would do it, it was magic. Some nights we'd do it and somebody would get in the way and it wouldn't happen. And it was electric, it was crazy.
Kept you on your toes.
Yeah.
So what was it like with your first Tony nomination?
My first Tony nomination was the time I won. And then I didn't win after that. But it's a lot of pressure. You know, you have a bunch of people saying you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're gonna win. If you don't win, you feel like you're letting them down. I was, in 1998, I was up doing cabaret, and I really didn't even think about Tonys, and I wasn't thinking about awards. And Rob Marshall, who was the co-director with Sam Mendes, called me at home. I have a phone on a real phone on a string, whatever it was. And I pick up, he goes, "Hey honey, it's Rob. So nominations came out, you're not gonna get one. You're playing a Nazi and you have no song. You're great, bye." So I didn't get one. I didn't get nominated, it's fine. And but when I did get nominated, it was really freaky, and my parents were celebrating their 50th anniversary, and they came to New York to see my play and to have an anniversary celebration, and we all went out to dinner and all this stuff, and I was like, oh my God, if I don't win, I've let everybody down. This entire weekend will be a disaster. So I kind of wanted to win just to not be a disaster.
Like a cherry on the top.
Yeah, and I won, and that was great, but it was all a blur.
Oh, didn't really get to relish it. It was just kind of like, okay, we're done.
I tried to live in the moment, but it was hard.
If anybody has any questions and you want to start lining up at the microphone, you're more than welcome to do that. We'll take some questions in just a bit. So moving on from theater into television, movies, was that an easy transition for you, or is it something you were looking towards doing, or did it just kind of fall in your lap?
I started doing TV in the late 80s for Lifetime channel. Oh my God.
That's when it was good.
I played a doctor in something. I couldn't remember my line. I had to write it in my shirt. Actually, I had to write it. It was a hard line. I'll never forget it. The word was hematocrit, which is a word about blood, and I couldn't remember it, and I had to write it on my. So I was like, hematocrit? And then I moved to New York, and I did Law and Order. 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 I did Law and Order.
You did like 7 different characters?
I did 9 different Law and Orders.
Yeah.
A priest who kills. A guy who defends himself. A guy who's schizophrenic who defends himself. A guy who beats up a homeless guy.
Karma match.
Totally. Range, baby. I played a mentally challenged guy who raped an old lady. And when I auditioned for it, none of us wanted the part. We're like, and there were like 4 of us in the audition room. And I was like, "You're gonna get this, dude. This is so up your alley." And I got it. I was like, "No."
Well, saying that you did 9 different characters in a show that has so many different seasons, it kind of relates to what I know of you in the different American Horror Story seasons. You're such a chameleon. You become your character so much in every season, you don't realize it's you until you realize it's you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's that guy. How often do you get that? You get that a lot, I'm sure.
I did, more so in the past. I mean, having done True Blood now and Horror Story, people know my name more.
Yeah.
But in the past, it was just, oh my God, you're that guy. And I actually had it in New York the other day. I was going to a friend's screening. This lovely actor named Ariane Moayed, who was on Succession, who's an incredible actor and producer and all-around good guy. And he runs a thing called Waterwell, which is an amazing organization. And his movie's called Courtroom. Watch out for it. Anyway, I went to his opening, and there was a guy. I wanted to get the slice before the movie because I was hungry. And there was a guy sitting in the place getting a slice, and he was like, "Hey, you're the actor." I'm like,
Yes, I am the actor.
I'm one of them, because there are a lot of us. It was just like funny. I'm like, I'm not the actor.
But to him, you're that guy.
But he was lovely. His name's Peter. Hi, Peter.
So you got to know him as
He's a
friend?
filmmaker. No, but I remember his name, and maybe he'll hire me someday.
That's brilliant.
Hire me.
You never know what connections you're going to make.
Never know.
Absolutely. We'll go with the first question. State your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Eric. How are you?
Liz.
Isn't that great?
Okay, so I have to ask you, what's the one role that you will always remember that you like? It was a passion role for you, and what was the one role that you wish you never would have taken?
Gosh.
2-part question.
Well, it's hard to say the first part because I love all my characters, and that's just saying that they leave a mark behind. I played a character named Peter in a play I did years ago called The Devils in New York, and I love that character. Everybody hated him. The audience hated him so much that people would walk out during my last speech at the end. It was a 3.5-hour play. They were all tired. Out of this play. I loved him. I loved Liz. And that character was more like being possessed in many ways. She kind of came in and then left. I love Spalding because he was so, I don't know, I understand Spalding really deeply. It was just, oops, my microphone went out just when I said that.
Don't worry about that.
And speaking of Spalding, so American Horror Stories, which is premiering I think July 20th. I'm in the first one.
We've all been waiting for a little American Horror Story in our life.
That and the character I play in that, I can't say anything else. Just that's all I'll say. It's connected to one of my other characters in a really cool way.
So it's bringing back
Yes.
something. Okay, very good. Very good to know.
So in terms of that, the character, the job I never wanted to do was probably Finian's Rainbow, which I did. I played the leprechaun, and that was not a problem. The problem was the play shouldn't be done anymore because it's undoable. It's racist at heart, unfortunately. It shouldn't be done anymore. and the production was an out-of-town tryout for Broadway. We started at Coconut Grove in Florida, and then we did Cleveland, and then we died. And in Coconut Grove, we had a hurricane, and in Cleveland, we had Cleveland. No, it was,
Cleveland doesn't rock.
and it was winter in Cleveland, and I was staying by the bus station, and like everything about it was wrong, and it was just a miserable time in my life. And I've never quit anything. I've been fired. I've never quit anything, and I thought I should have quit, and I should have quit, but I didn't. But I should have quit.
And can you just give us a quick no pity parties in my bar?
Say what?
Can you say no pity?
No pity party in my bar.
Speaking of, was it Finian's Rainbow?
Yeah.
Is there any other position you were put in that you had to like kind of reconcile your beliefs, or what you would naturally, your instinct would be to what you have to act?
Yeah, I only say yes to a part if I can do it justice. I don't care what the person believes. I don't care what I believe. I don't care if we agree. But if I can't do that part and get behind it, then I'm not going to do it. So I have to make sure. I did John Briggs when I did Milk, and John Briggs is an out-and-out homophobe, and I'm not. And but he's a great character, and he's an historical character, and my job is to do him justice. My job is not to make fun of him. My job is not to, send him up. My job is to do him and figure out what makes him tick. And so that's always my job, to make him tick. So I usually I can find something that I can believe in a character, and I'll just go with that. I mean, I'm not a serial killer. I play serial killers.
But
So
I did one on TV.
I got to figure out how to get into those guys' mindset. You got to figure out how to play them,
Yeah. Very cool. Next up.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, you're such a great Broadway actor. If you had one dream role, one holy grail role, regardless of anything that you would want to play.
Is that Demi?
Yeah, that's
Hi,
it.
Demi.
Hi, Demi.
Hi.
What's your pie in the sky role?
Gosh.
Yeah, the pie in the sky role. It just-
Oddly enough, I kind of don't really have one. I've done a lot of new plays in my life, and I've created a lot of parts, and I love that. There's the Cherry Orchard by Chekhov. There's a character named Lopachin, and I always wanted to play Lopachin, and I didn't get to play him. I wish I could have. I can still play him.
Yeah.
I'm going to do Uncle Vanya again. I played Uncle Vanya already. I'm going to play the Professor Sherbyakov in France. I'm doing it in French, and I'm playing that at Toulouse in January, and then at the Odeon Theater in Paris in February. So I'm happy doing Chekhov again. Probably no Shakespearean characters. I played Mercutio, which I loved. That was a fun character. I never wanted to play Hamlet, just I wasn't interested. I kind of like Prospero, wouldn't mind playing him. I don't think I want to play Lear, but I've done bits of Lear, and I kind of understand it a little bit now. But no, but that's interesting. I'm one of the very few actors. I don't really have that thing. That there's a part I need to play. I love being handed a character no one has ever seen before, and then creating it.
That's
I love that.
fantastic. That's
Becomes your
beautiful.
own, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Is there much difference between doing theater here and doing theater in Europe?
I did Tartuffe in England at the National. That was in English, and I do a one-man show called The Iliad, about Homer's Iliad, and I've done that in English, but with a lot of French. I did it in French, and no, there's no difference. I mean, the French are very different, and speaking French is very different, and I'm different when I speak French. And so I'm interested in what that's going to do to me, and so I don't know the answer yet.
Do you consider it a challenge?
Totally.
Love that.
Terrified.
But you want to conquer
I'm
it.
going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in going for something that scares you?
Totally.
Is it inspirational?
You know what? I didn't want to do Liz because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to. I'm a gay man of a certain generation, and the way I survived was by never being effeminate. I didn't want to get beaten up. I didn't want to be called names. And so to explore any kind of feminine side of me was very risky for me. I didn't want to do it.
Okay.
But I knew that the things you don't want to do, you have to do.
And the response that you got, I mean, that character out of all the American Horror Stories tends to be what I've seen as people's favorites.
Yeah.
And you have to know the justice that you did.
Well, it was beautifully written,
Yeah.
and then once I decided to do it, you go 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not going to. As I say, it was possession. She came into me. Just let her
Where
out.
did you find your inspiration?
I love her album.
There was, some physical inspiration in that Ryan had a very strong idea about Liz having a shaved head and a Cleopatra eye, and that was very important to him. And then when I got into the costume, Lou Eyrich, who was our amazing costume designer, that inspired me. What she felt like, and then how you move when you're in that. And then what she actually says. So it's kind of a combo platter. It all meets,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next question.
What character have you played that you relate to the most?
I don't know. I mean, in an odd way, both Larry and Spalding are my two to-go-to guys. Because between the two of them, there's a lot of me in both those characters. I like Spalding because he was actually gentle in a really weird way. And I liked him because he was an observer and he watched and he took things in. When we were doing Coven, I didn't speak on set. And so I wouldn't speak. The minute I got into my costume, I stopped speaking. And so I would be silent the whole day. And everybody forgot that I was present. And so people would just say things in front of me, and I heard a lot of things I shouldn't have heard. And I was just not physically, I wasn't present. I was right there, but no one noticed me. And it was really powerful.
It's like a lesson in people study, isn't it?
Yeah. And Larry I like because Larry's like a vaudevillian at heart. He's always tap dancing to keep, death away. And that's kind of my shtick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you and I talked a little bit at your table, and I gave you my confession that I am not really a True Blood fan. But that's okay. I can have my own fans. But the fans of True Blood are rabid, obviously. And I mean, how do you deal with a fan base that's just so enamored with something so evil and fun?
I mean, for one thing, when people are coming up to you saying how much they love you, is that ever bad?
No.
It's not a bad experience.
So when I came up and I said, I'm not a fan.
I mean, I understand that completely. I get that too because I'm not a fan of certain things. I won't name them. But True Blood people are great because True Blood is a very special kind of vampire show. It's not Twilight.
My vampires don't sparkle.
Thank you. Real vampires don't sparkle. Even though I kind of like the Twilight series. But it was a different world. It was very funny. It was tongue-in-cheek in a way, but while still being full on. It was completely committed. Everybody in that show, Alan Ball's a great writer, he's a great creator. Every actor in that show is completely committed. Just an amazing cast. You don't get much better than that cast, I thought. And I think because of that, I have such fond memories of that. And I think anyone who loves True Blood loves it because of those things. They can feel that,
Yeah, they get into the characters and the story and
Yeah.
become part of it. Yeah, I understand that part of it. But you like the experience of the show and the family that you.
Totally.
Do you want to share anything from the True Blood experience that maybe we don't know about?
Let me think.
Any funny stories that happened or accidents or?
We actually had a lot of fun. This is not a True Blood story during True Blood, but we had a party at Ann and Steve's house, and we all had to bring food. I think I helped organize it, and I brought Jell-O. And I brought Jell-O in the urn that used to hold Talbot. And
That's the stuff we want to
I asked them to borrow the Talbot urn. They were like, sure. And so I borrowed the actual Talbot urn and I made Jell-O. It was red Jell-O. And I had everybody eating Talbot. And at one point, Anna Paquin, we staged this photo, I wish I could find it, of Anna pouring Talbot out into a sink. And me standing behind going, no! It's a very funny photo.
That's the stuff we love to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I got a terrible sunburn when I was shooting the scene with Eric in the parking lot of Fantasia, because they put this crazy makeup on me. I was wearing like black stuff on my face and flakes of paper and coffee grounds. It was just crazy makeup. It took hours to make. And they assumed that because I had all this makeup on, the sun couldn't get to me. So I was out there for like 12 hours in the California sun. And when I finished and took the makeup off at night, I was red. And they were like, do you have allergies? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you're really red. And I'm like, oh. And the next day, I realized I'm sunburned. I'm red because I have third-degree burns on my face. So, poor Russell was dying in the sun, and so was poor Dennis. Method acting.
Did it take you out of shooting for any period of time?
No, I was off actually for the next 3 or 4 days, and that was the day that I think Alex Skarsgard got a speeding ticket coming back from Long Beach because they had given him this like Lamborghini that they, because he's tall and sexy and Nordic, and they were like, here's a flashy car, drive it. And he did, and of course you can't go 70 in a Lamborghini. You can't.
It's a Lamborghini.
So I think he was doing 110, and he got smacked and pulled over and given a parking ticket. Yeah.
He wasn't pretty
Or a
enough to
speeding
have
ticket.
it.
I think he tried, but yeah.
The couples have it.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend for all of us.
Sunburn, speeding ticket. Is there a third? There's a ghost please.
Bad catering?
Oh, yeah. That can make or break your day. I get it. Next question.
Hey, so I'm actually an actress myself, but I only do like theater. And you said earlier how you don't really like to follow the rules. I'm honestly the same. I'm a rebel, if you can tell. But I do film acting for I think like almost maybe 10 years. And the thing is that I find out is like you have to follow the rules. You have to stay on a certain way. You have to look at the camera. You're kind of like in a square, I feel like. And in theater, you can do whatever you want, and they can't really say much to you. So for someone who doesn't really like to follow the rules, likes to express themselves in their own kind of way on stage, do you have any advice for me when it comes to film acting? Because I would love to be in the camera more, I just don't like to follow the rules.
I mean, the thing about following the rules on camera is that if you're not in the right place, you're not going to be in focus. And if you're not in the right light, you won't be lit. And so you'll look bad. So in that case, it's about self-preservation. And also because, while not following the rules, I'm also a team player. So I want to do what's best for all of us. And when you on a film set, you get to know the sound guy, you get to know the cameraman. I know the focus puller, I know the director. I don't want to make anybody look bad. So there's a happy medium, a balancing act between doing what I want to do and doing what is considered congenial and considered being part of a team, because acting is a team challenge. When I was doing, for instance, Major Barbara, I was on Broadway with David Warner, an amazing actor, and he likes to do things exactly the same way every time. And I always say to other actors, dude, if you want me to do it the same way, I will. If you need that, I'm there for you. So it's not about, I don't want to mess anybody else up. And I did a monologue for Pickle Take Me Out, and it was just me on stage. That's different. It's just me. And I had a follow spot, which meant that they're following me. So that's a perfect time for me to do whatever I want to. But if I'm in a scene with somebody else and they're relying on me to feed lines in a certain way, if they're down with me doing what I want to, fine. But if they need it a certain way, that's my job, and I will give it to them exactly the same way. So it's about being collegial and also expressing yourself when you can, when it's not antisocial. You know
So
what
is
I
it
mean?
like a pick your battles kind of a thing?
It's not even pick your battles, it's about knowing what your effect is. And it's like shooting yourself in the foot, for instance, if I refuse to stand on the mark they give me. Because the mark they give me is a focus mark. And if I'm short of it, I won't be in focus. So it won't look good. I won't look good. And the cameraman will get blamed.
You don't want to be the difficult actor.
Yeah, you're a difficult actor. And so it's about finding your creativity within the rules and the confines. And yeah, it's a balancing act. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I'll use that advice because, like I said, I'm a theater girl, so it's different, but I'm gonna go back to it, so I'll use your advice. I appreciate it.
Cool.
From the men himself, yes. Okay, so I'm a huge American Horror Story fan. I'm sure there's a few people in the room who've seen it. Among the seasons, do you have one that's a favorite of yours, or do you have like any wish of like what maybe they would do in the future for a cool season? Do you have any ideas or thoughts on those?
I can't imagine how they come up with the season ideas. I'm glad I'm not in the writer's room.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I mean, I thought Asylum was an amazing season. I wasn't in it. I thought it was just like, you know, the whole Banana Fofana, that whole episode was just like, what am I watching? What am I watching? So it named the name game. Oh my god. And the guy who directed that, Alejandro, is amazing. I just, you know, I love that whole season. I loved Hotel because I got a great character. I love my storyline. Kathy Bates, oh God, we had the best time together.
She seems like she'd be just like the best friend to have on a set.
I mean, she's great because she's fully committed. I've watched her do line readings that I'm like, how do you do that? She's an extraordinary actor. But not I don't have a favorite because there are different parts of each thing that I love. I have so many fond memories from Freak Show. Freak Show was such a weird experience. There were so many weird things that happened around that show, so many weird things around that set. That was an extraordinary cast. We had a lot of actors who were not normally actors, who I loved that were part of it. Hanging out with Ma Petite is itself an extraordinary experience. You know what I mean? It was just a really special season.
It's definitely something that you don't see every day.
Jokey. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We have another question.
Hi Dennis, my name is Shane, nice to meet you.
Hey.
I got a two-part question. Can I ask two questions?
Totally.
One's pretty simple. Who's the most memorable actor, actress that you've worked on set with in American Horror Story? Because that's how I know you. Go ahead, that one's an easier one, I guess.
Huh. Not as easy as you think. I love working with Kathy Bates. We became like a dream team in season 5. I love working with Finn Ritrock because he's completely there, and our scenes together in Hotel, we didn't have many scenes, but what we did have was so intense and so I don't know, it was very special scenes we did together. And Paulson's always a riot. Come on, she's amazing. Evan's great. I love working with Evan. He really is awesome. So it's something I'm welshing out. And of course, working with Jessica is a crazy experience and a great experience. She's just a great actor. Great actor.
How about Lady Gaga?
She's great. Yeah, sorry. No, absolutely.
And then the second question is, how do you balance preparing for a role in just normal life, and how do you make sure they don't bleed into each other?
I mean, preparing for a role is weird because like right now I'm preparing for a role which I'm going to shoot soon, and it sort of makes you always unhappy. So I spend a lot of time worried, and I dream about it, wake up with it. This morning I worked on it outside of Starbucks somewhere like a mile away. I was sitting with my little pages and working on outside porch, sweating, making notes to myself and things. And until the character is born, it's painful because it's not right yet. It's not working. So you have to live in a place of incompleteness and a place of failure. So right now I'm not succeeding, and I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things and I'll try them out. But it's always in the back of your mind about I should be doing more, I should be working harder, I should be doing that. But I work when I walk a lot, and I'll take notes when I walk, and I'll just talk on my phone and try to think about ideas and things. Yes, it's hard.
But you find that affects your relationships with your friends and family because of?
No. I mean, I've been doing it long enough that not really. I mean, outside of, if I have a lot of friends who I will say, can you get together for dinner? They kind of go, no, I got an audition on Tuesday. I'm like, it's Saturday. I know, but I can't get together with you. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not like that. I can have dinner, but it's always in the back of your mind. You know what I mean? You're always worried about
Wheels
something.
are always turning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hiya.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
Hi.
So, we all do work and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we have our ways of unwinding, relaxing, separating ourselves from that. What do you like to do? Like, do you have favorite books or music, food? Do you just, hobbies that you like to do to just
Like
decompress?
Decompress, yeah.
I mean, I watch TV like anybody else.
What's your favorite show?
What
I
are you a
watch.
fan of?
You know what? I watched Top Chef.
Yeah.
I
Do you
like
like to cook then?
So what?
Do you like to cook then?
I don't. My husband cooks. I mean, I'm not bad, but he cooks. And I watch the Great British Baking Show because everybody's nice. My God, the nicest people in the world.
So are you missing Mary Berry?
I am. I liked her. Those eyes. My God, those black blue eyes. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I watch a lot of sci-fi.
So favorite sci-fi show?
I'll watch any sci-fi. What did I turn off recently? I did turn off a movie recently. I was like, even I won't watch this.
That's juicy.
I know, what was it? I'm watching, what am I watching? What's it called? I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know.
Apple TV Plus, Isaac Asimov show. I watched Raised by Wolves. I like that a lot. That was pretty great. Foundation on Apple TV Plus. I think it's pretty good. I'm watching that one. And then I watched RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
I watched All Stars, even though I've seen it before. Did I see this one? Oh, what the hell? I'll watch it again.
We have a couple girls from Orlando. We're very proud of.
Who's the one?
Ginger Men.
Yes! Tyra.
Right, Tyra.
There's been a couple of them, but Ginger's one that's made it.
Trinity, the
yes.
Tuck.
Yes.
Right, oh my
Yes,
God,
we got
Trinity
some
the Tuck.
Orlando
What a
represented
riot.
there.
What a riot.
We love our girls.
So
I
what
also
more?
read a lot. I read a lot, and I'm also a writer, so I'm usually reading for writing. So right now I'm reading, Don't Make Fun of Me. I'm reading a biography of Augustus. I'm reading another book about Augustus. And I'm probably going to start another book about Augustus. And then I have to go back and read Dio, who is a Roman author. And I need to reread Tacitus, who's another Roman author.
You're saying
Yeah.
words.
I know. These are all Roman source authors.
Wow.
I'm writing a play about the Roman Empire and about the Aeneid, which is Virgil's great book. And I write with somebody named Lisa Peterson. We've written 2 plays together already, and so this is our 3rd play. So I do a lot of research reading.
Yes.
A lot of that, yeah.
One more. What is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure? I can't talk about that.
Anything guilty pleasure?
Because this is a proud show.
Nope.
PG-13 guilty pleasure.
Do you have like
Too
a
many prying eyes.
candy that you indulge in, or like
You know what I do? I mean, I'm a little bit of a controlled Capricorn. So what's that? Yes. I mind my calories. I'm crazy about what my Fitbit, and gotta get 14,700 steps a day. You know what I mean? Surprised I'm not walking right now. But so at nighttime, I have a square of dark chocolate and a square of milk chocolate and 1 piece of shortbread and usually 1 other kind of cookie, like a French cookie or something like that. And that's what I have, like religiously.
Thank you for answering.
Thank
our
you.
last question, and we're gonna wrap things up in just a minute.
Hi, thank you. I was just wondering, when you went to play Russell, did
Yeah.
you ever read any of the Charlene Harris?
Oh, God,
novels?
yeah.
Because Russell, compared to the books, is
Yeah.
light and day. Because Russell in the books is a sweetheart, friends with Sookie, and then True Blood, the TV show, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
But there's two links. They both love young men.
I do. He was like an antique dealer, I think, in the books. And I mean, that's not all my doing. I play what's given me. And so they had already decided Russell was going to be something else. But even within that, when I read the books, and I love the books, but I read the books and I was like, no, not doing that. And then, you know, Talbot was meant to be English.
Right.
And so they had all these actors come in, you know, English actors coming in playing Talbot. And then Theo shows up, who played him, who's Greek. He's Greek, he's from Greece. He came in and he was like, no, this is Talbot. And he did that, they were like, oh my God, that's who we're hiring. So neither of us behaved. Neither of us did the part that was in the book. And we had a great time. And then they wrote to that. You know what I mean? They wrote these characters in their own way. And so we just went with it. You know?
Yeah. Well, both were fantastic either way, and thank you for portraying that.
I love Talbot.
The change, of course, that ended up being the best thing for the fans.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
Theo is back in Greece, by the way. He's still there. He tried to hire me to do something, and I want to go over and see him, but we're still in touch. We're all in touch. I'm in touch with Anna. I'm in touch with Stephen all the time. I see Kristen all the time online. I love her. I saw Deborah Ann a couple times recently. Love me some Sam. Carrie Preston directed me in A Good Fight last year, so I saw her last year. We're sort of a big alum family, but sure love people.
One more question I did. Is Alexander Skarsgard as gorgeous as he really is?
That's all makeup.
No, he's you know what? He's also a super cool person.
I love that.
A super cool dude. You know, my only criticism, if I have one, is that when he decided to learn English, which is flawless, he decided to sound like Gomer Pyle. Which I don't quite understand why. This incredibly sexy guy's kind of like, hey, how are you? Hey man, high-pitched voice, like, what are you doing, Alex?
Thank you so much. Do you have anything coming up that we can look forward to, or something you want to promote
You
for
know,
us?
I did The Nevers for HBO, and we did 6 episodes which already were broadcast, and the next 6 are coming out, I think in September. And it is so good. I mean, where it goes is so crazy. And I'm really, really proud of it, and I think it has to be seen. And then, as I said, I did a one-off, the One American Horror Stories, the first one of the second series. I did that, and that's really cool. And what else? I did Trying for Apple TV, and that was kind of sweet. And I did a movie with Naomi Watts called Infinite Storm. I think that came out recently, and that's pretty good. Yeah, and that's all I got.
You're researching for something big, so we'll stay tuned.
Exactly.
What's your social media so we can follow you?
I am on Instagram. I'm at Odennis, OHDENIS, and Twitter at Dennis O'Hare. I've got a really lame website, DennisO'Hare.com. I never update it. I think it's not 6 years old, but I have an email address in there. You can email me, and I always respond to my emails.